Usually I wash my hair, which is awesome because it's clean, but it's a giant disaster. It looks like a rat's nest. This is the best part of having that little reflective screen that I always turn down once it's been recording for a while. Because you can see all the craziness. It won't even go up. We're just gonna leave it. It's just gonna be like that. I'm drinking bulletproof coffee for the first time today, and it's so good. Oh my god. I mean, like there's butter and coconut oil in it, so why wouldn't it be good? Anyways, I guess on to today's video. So today I'm recording my fitness journey, which you obviously know from the title of this video. And I just want to preface it with a few things. So firstly, this is a totally unplanned video. I haven't really thoroughly thought through much of anything other than thinking back to past memories and remembering how I felt at certain ages and stages and things like that. So I really am just going off the cuff. If I sound a little rambly at certain points or I get a little emotional, I would just prepare for that now because it's most likely going to happen. To me, this is a video that really needs to be created because I think a lot of YouTubers share their fitness journeys, and I think that it's so good. But I think that a lot of the time, what social media has allowed us to believe is that fitness is from going from point A to point B. A being before, or the before photo, which is worse, and B being the after photo or the end, which is better. And it's that side-by-side comparison that we see so many times, just like we're bombarded with it. How many times do you go into your Explore page and you see that side-by-side before and after? That was me then, this is me now. Then I was less fit, now I'm more fit, therefore I'm better now. Screw the old me. I don't really think it's to that extent, and I know I'm kind of exaggerating, but I think it's so important for us to realize, because it took me so long to realize, that there's no real before and after. Yeah, we can make progress to certain performance goals and body composition goals, and that's amazing. And I'm also not knocking taking progress photos when you are working toward a specific goal, but it's just really important to remember that there's no end. It's not gonna end, you guys. And something that I got really effed up in my own head about when I started this was I thought that it was a linear journey, that I was just gonna continue to improve all the time and get better and better and better. I was always just gonna keep getting leaner. I was always just gonna love my body more and more. And I was always just gonna continue to improve. And I think I went into fitness with that mindset, just like so many people do. So like you'll hear in a second, when I first started to realize that I wasn't gonna be perfect all the time and I wasn't gonna continue to always be better at a certain goal all the time, it hit me really hard. And I think that happens to a lot of people. So what I want more than anything to come out of this video is to be a reminder to myself and a reminder to you, crazy hair, that fitness is not a before and after. You weren't worse before and you're not better now, okay? Yeah, you might have improved at some things. You might be healthier and stronger and leaner, and that's amazing, but it's about improving as a whole human being. So if it means that you're growing mentally, even though maybe you put on a couple of pounds over the holidays one year, you're not worse, you didn't lose all your progress, and you're not back where you started or behind, as long as you continue to grow and evolve in terms of your health in all areas and your fitness in all areas. So I'm gonna start from the beginning, and not the beginning like high school, the beginning like all the way back to the beginning, just so you guys can get some context. We are all products of all the experiences that we've had and our environments and everything that we've gone through since a really young age, and that's kind of reflected into people that we become. So I want to share that. So when I was 8, I decided that I wanted to be a rhythmic gymnast. I was so fixated on it. So I spent a lot of my young childhood years from age 8, maybe even younger, to 14 competing in rhythmic gymnastics. That definitely did contribute to a lot of the body dysmorphia that I experienced later on in life. I was never a huge kid by any means, but I was always the biggest girl. I remember trying out for a high performance team one year, and they weighed us all. they literally made us step on a scale in front of everyone else. And I was the heaviest by more than 10 pounds. And when you're 11, that seems like a lot. So my relationship with the scale got pretty unhealthy from pretty much my first experience with it. Anyways, I did love the sport of the gymnastics. It was so beautiful, and I was really, really flexible, and that was kind of where a lot of my skills were, was I was really good at a lot of the movements, and I have to say, like, one of the most influential women in my life was my coach, Susie, that I had for 2 of those years, and she was such a big believer in female empowerment and body positivity and taking care of yourself for the right reasons, that she really was a good influence on me. But yeah, I would say overall the whole experience with gymnastics, especially as I got to those puberty ages where you do start to put on weight and you do start to, your body turns more womanly, and that's just what you're going through. But you're in a sport that rejects that idea so completely, because if you look at highly competitive Olympic gymnasts, those in the Olympics and stuff, they're so tiny that that was really difficult mentally to kind of get through. So actually what happened was, when I was 14, Susie quit. She was a female firefighter and she was pregnant with her second child. She's just a freaking badass. So she quit, and I just kind of thought, you know, she's kind of the reason I'm doing this. I don't want another coach. I knew that I wasn't at the skill level to take it further, so I joined triathlon. Meanwhile, when I was 12, I started an all-girls private Catholic school. And so, like you can imagine, although I loved going to school there, and there's a lot of great things about it, being there did contribute also to a lot of negative body image things. We would sit around at the lunch table and basically pick ourselves apart and talk about what we needed to change and how we wanted to look on the weekend, and fix it over 17 magazines because Instagram wasn't a thing back then. So, I mean, as much as I made some really meaningful friendships there, and I'm friends with girls that I hopefully will be friends with my entire life. I know I will be friends with my entire life. It just contributed to a lot of unhealthy stuff. I remember things like, we would like steal, my one friend would steal her mom's fat burners, and we would like sneakily take fat burners in the locker room when we were like in grade 9 and think that it was gonna make us look so skinny for the dance the next weekend. It was not good. It was really not good. And there was such a focus back then on being as skinny as you could be. And that's when I actually, as soon as I got out of gymnastics, my dad really wanted me to be in a sport that he could relate to. So he was into triathlons. He got me to join triathlons, and I lost a lot of weight really quickly. Triathlon is pretty much the most intensive cardio that you can imagine. I was on a team called Kids of Steel. Kids of Steel. Yeah, I actually had a really great coach, and it was a lot of fun, and it was also my first experience ever really talking to boys. So definitely beneficial, but I lost a lot of weight pretty quickly. And it just kind of made me more obsessed with staying that size. I think, yeah, it was my first time really being small, or being considered small, and I loved it, to be honest. Like, I'd gone from being always kind of the bigger girl to one of the smaller girls, and it felt good. When you're that age, you don't really know, right? That what's healthy or what's not. So from there, I ended triathlon, I think, in grade 11, and then I would be the girl in my group of friends that would work out. When I say work out, please understand that I had literally zero idea what I was actually doing. But our school got a gym put in also when I was in grade 11. And so on my lunch hour, I would go to the gym. I'd mostly just go on the treadmill and then probably do like a whole bunch of crunches. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't understand anything to do with body composition, or I didn't know anything. So that's what I knew how to do. And my friends definitely, I would say, considered me one of the few girls that actually did know what they were doing in the gym, just because if you take an average group of high school girls, most of them don't ever even set foot at a gym. So yeah, there was just my one friend, Tia, and I, we would kind of just go and work out, like I said. Yeah, and that was probably a couple times a week. I think it was really nice though, because by the end of high school, I don't think I was at a super unhealthy place mentally for someone that age. And it did build a good habit to just be conscious of it, and to obviously, I don't know, like I was on the cross country team, and just to be fit and active and healthy at that age, especially when you get your license and you start going to McDonald's more often, you start drinking on the weekends, things like that. So yeah, that was definitely a healthy habit that I picked up. And when I graduated high school at 17, I had a plan with my best friend that we were going to leave and travel to Australia for a year after we graduated. We both knew that we didn't want to go to university right away, and we wanted to just do something really amazing and life-changing. So after high school, I'd been working 3 jobs. We packed up our stuff and flew to the other side of the world, which was crazy. Obviously, I just turned 18 and knew absolutely nothing about life. And it was an amazing experience. We obviously learned so much. We basically just went there with, I think we had like $6,000 each. And we had to get jobs, we had to get apartments, we backpacked across the whole East Coast. Needless to say though, the backpacker life is not the healthy life. I worked at a restaurant called Bondi Pizza. And so it was like a gourmet pizza restaurant that was right on Bondi Beach. So really like high-end clientele. It was a really beautiful restaurant. The pizza was heavenly. I actually am pretty sure that I still fantasize and have dreams about the taste of that pizza. But because everyone that worked there was backpackers, a big part of the benefit to working there was that they would just let you have whatever you wanted. You got one massive free meal every shift, and then any time that the kitchen would mess up, you just get an all-night pizza too. So I pretty much survived on pizza and goon. Goon is really, really, really dirt cheap wine made with fish eggs. The whole time I was there. So Australia, when it came to fitness, I would say was the first time in my life that I truly dealt with body image issues for the first time. I probably put on about 15 or so pounds of body fat while I was there. And I started to really hate myself. Like, we're talking, I was in Australia for almost a year, and there's one bathing suit picture, I'll insert it in here, because I was so self-conscious. I literally felt like a whale. And no, I wasn't that huge, but I think it was a combination of being around a lot of girls that were really tiny and wanting to fit a certain image, and also just knowing that I was putting crap in my body constantly. No one feels good when they're drinking almost every day and eating nothing but pizza and ramen noodles and gelati. It's really good gelati, but you're not gonna feel good. And unfortunately, as much as my friend and I had an incredible relationship, a big foundation to our relationship that we'd had for so many years was built upon us kind of like tearing each other down and focusing on like self-deprecating talk and what we needed to fix and what we wanted to work on and how we wanted to be. And we spent a disgusting amount of time talking about those things. And I think that it just really added to like the unhealthiness of the mental state I was in. So once it came time to go home, I sort of freaked out and just thought, like, I don't want to have one of those horror stories where you get home and your friends and family are like, oh my God, what happened to her? She got huge, she blew up. So near the end of the trip, I kind of just stopped. I didn't stop eating, but I just cut down like really, really hard on how much I was eating. So while my food was still so unhealthy, I probably just had like one massive unhealthy meal a day, and I did drop weight pretty quickly because it was such a difference in calories than what I'd been having before. I don't know if this is necessarily the worst, but one of the worst mental states that I've ever been in was that plane ride home from Australia, or those 3 plane rides home because it's a long flight. And all I could think about was, I will be happy and I will be okay and I will be able to enjoy my life if I lose and when I lose 20 pounds. That's the only time that I'll be able to fully be allowed to enjoy my life. I shouldn't even be allowed to have fun or do anything until then. And I know how crazy that sounds. I know how extreme that sounds, but that was the headset I was in. I was like, I'm going home and I'm changing this. I'm losing all this weight. I'm just gonna do whatever it takes. And I've never had what you would consider anorexia, because I can't just not eat. I just like food too much. I've never had bulimia. Once in Australia, I tried to make myself throw up because I'd overeaten so much, and I was like, screw this, you know what? Maybe if I just start making myself throw up, that'll solve all my problems. Tried it once, didn't work, never tried it again. But what's crazy is even though what I had didn't fit into either of those 2 categories, it's still disordered eating. It's still a super unhealthy mindset. And so when I did get back home, my ex-boyfriend's, it was his brother's girlfriend, was getting into really intensive personal training. She was training for a bikini competition, and I just thought, wow, this is so inspiring. And it was. She was a mom and she was working so hard, and her results were incredible. So I just thought, I'm gonna get into this too. So I hired the same coach that she had, and for the first time I was given a training program to actually follow. And I do think that was really good for me, because that was the first time that I went to the gym and actually had structure and actually was like picking up a weight and doing like full body compound movements, even things like body weight squats or goblet squats and like push-ups and stuff like that. I'd never incorporated any of that before, because I always thought I attributed weight loss to cardio, and so that's all I'd really ever done. Trained with her for a while, and I did get some results. I definitely noticed some changes in my body that made me really happy. And I would say that my mindset started to get a lot healthier. That was when clean eating was really big, or whatever. I don't think there really is a proper definition for what clean eating is, but yeah, I definitely took out a lot of the crap in my diet, tried to focus on more whole foods, and then kind of just like had what I wanted on the weekends. And especially compared to what I'd been doing in Australia beforehand, I knew that I was a lot healthier throughout. So that was kind of, I came home in May. I came home in May of 2012. And then it was all through that summer and into the fall that I trained with her. Finished my little like 3-month or whatever program with her, and then I was a server. I was a lounge server at Earl's. Woo, Earl's girl. And one of the girls that I worked with, who I had idolized for years, she was always a couple years older than me in high school, and I always just thought, oh my God, Chantel is so perfect, I want to be like her. She was training with a coach named Ben Downs. And so it was like a very intensive, like kind of strength training kind of program. I didn't know much about it, and but I was interested. I feel like training with my previous trainer, Tanis, finally like, it got me kind of like, I guess you could say I like got the fitness bug or whatever. And I loved seeing changes. I loved feeling stronger and more fit. And so I decided I wanted to do this with her and a couple of the other girls that I worked with. So training with them was really, really cool and very different. Ben had us like actual deadlifting and barbell squatting. And no, it wasn't super heavy weights, but it was kind of sweet to have someone who was there hands-on in person and teaching you how to do that and pushing you. And also just teaching you the fundamentals behind some of these really important lifts and why they benefited you. And it was a lot more strength training than I'd done in the past. So I really liked that. I only trained with him, I think, for like 2 months. And then from there, I was in university. I had just started my first year of university. I was just in it. I was like, I'm fitness now. My friends would kind of go to me with their questions about like their own workouts and what they should be doing and how they should get results. And I really think that at that point, I was just very excited by fitness. And I loved that I knew I was healthier and fitter and that my body looked better than like a year before. And it felt really good. So yeah, that whole winter, I spent a lot of time researching a lot, learning a lot. And in January, so January of 2013, I hit kind of a big breaking point mentally. I had been in university for 6 months, and I didn't love what I was taking. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I remember not being able to find a parking spot at school, so I drove home and just had like a mental breakdown and just wrote out, I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm writing out what I want to achieve for my life, and I'm gonna do what I want with my life. I'm gonna do something that I'm proud of, that I love and makes me feel fulfilled. So I remember that I wrote out running the half marathon. I wrote out raising my GPA. I wrote out a whole bunch of things, but I then said, I want to start a meaningful career, and it's going to have to do with fitness, and I'm gonna get my first training certification. I actually still have the list written out. I just moved, so it's all packed up in boxes, but I still have that same list. I wrote it with a Sharpie on a random piece of printer paper, and so I did it. So that whole winter, I researched and studied for my first personal training certification. And that's when things got a little too extreme. And I don't think it was intentionally, because I don't think I was at a super unhealthy mental state then. I think I was like really loving everything. I think I really really was just so excited about this career, and I knew that I was gonna do something big with it. I knew I wasn't just gonna, no offense to like anybody out there whatsoever, but I didn't want to just like be a trainer and work for a gym and have that be it. I wanted to like make girls feel as good as I felt and help them realize that fitness could change their lives and make them happier and just feel good about themselves. And I knew the impact it had on my life already at that point. So I was very much at the place where I wanted to make other people feel the same way. And I knew I wanted to work with women. So once I got my certification, I started Aurea Fitness, which is my training company here. And I started that summer. I did one-on-one clients. I would go to their houses and train them for like no money at all. And then I started boot camp, which was a really small boot camp. So it was like 4 girls. So that summer though, I was so hyper focused on my goals and so excited about what I was gonna do that I became really serious with my diet. Like I only had the healthy foods, things that I thought were like allowed, and I cut out like everything bad, but I also cut down my calories. I wasn't tracking or anything like that. I didn't really know nearly as much about macros or like how to strategically put yourself in a deficit then. So I think just that along with my work schedule, I just ended up like intensely under eating. And I'm gonna put a photo here. I got so small. I remember my lowest weight was 109 pounds and I'm 5'7", and I've never been like a tiny person. So you guys can imagine like that is really small. And the thing is though, I loved being that small. Like I loved it. I loved that I could see for the first time in my life, I could see abs, like real abs. And like, of course, because when you're that lean and your body fat's that low, it is easy to see your abs regardless of how fit you are. And I think I attributed leanness to being fit, which obviously being lean is amazing, it's great, but it's not necessarily a measure of how strong or what your overall performance is or what your overall health is. And so I was really lean that whole summer. And that whole summer I was like really tiny. And as much as I loved it, I guess I didn't realize at the time that it wasn't maintainable. Like I'm talking, okay, I'm trying to think about what my day would have been. I woke up, I remember my smoothie, because I still have the smoothie now, it's delicious. Like a protein shake with quarter of an avocado, blueberries, spinach, ice, and almond milk. Still a go-to smoothie. But then I would serve all day. I'm pretty sure I would have like a can of flavored tuna in the day because you have to like quickly eat when you're serving a busy shift. I would have that. And then that's like all I would eat during the entire day. I would go work out and then I would go home and have some sort of dinner, but it would be like salad and a chicken breast. Like we're talking seriously under eating without really realizing it. That summer, experiencing being so tiny and so lean for the first time did unfortunately mess me up a little bit. I didn't intend for it to, but I did become obsessive about it. And it actually got to the point where I went on a trip with my ex-boyfriend at the end of that summer. And during that trip, I obviously allowed myself to have fun, have treats, do whatever I wanted. And when I came back, I was an absolute disaster. I'd probably put on about 5 pounds, which, as you guys know, is like nothing. It's so insignificant, but I got so fixated on it and I was so stuck in that mentality of progress needs to be linear. I need to continue to get more and more and more lean and have more definition of my muscles and all these things that I thought, oh my God, my progress is ruined forever. And that's what set off a pretty dark time for me. I began binge eating. I would get so caught up on never being able to get back to where I was and kind of fixate on that idea and glorify the past that I would just say F it and binge and go crazy, and it really messed with my mental state. So that year, I actually broke up with my ex of 3.5 years and I moved to Toronto. And so when I moved to Toronto, I got a job at Equinox, and educationally, that was one of the most amazing experiences that I've been fortunate enough to have in my life. They would fly different professionals in from all around the world to train us and do weekend seminars. I learned from so many different mentors who specialize in different areas of fitness. And when it came to my actual knowledge as someone in the fitness industry, I'm so grateful to have had that. But unfortunately, that summer, I mentally was not in a good place. I still wanted to be leaner, be tinier. I was modeling, and not fitness modeling, regular people modeling to make money on the side. And so I felt like there was a certain image that I had to fit into with that. And I think as much as I didn't necessarily realize it at the time, a lot of my emotions that had been a result of the breakup, I was taking out in a really, really negative, self-deprecating way. So that summer, as much as in some ways it was so incredible, it was also kind of dark, and I definitely wasn't in a good place. I came back to finish up my degree to Winnipeg, and that's when things started to turn around for me a lot mentally. So it was near the end of 2015 that I would say I started to improve my body image slowly, as I did get over the breakup and I did start to take time to practice little self-care methods. I learned and I looked a lot more into the importance of mental health alongside physical health, and I sort of started to realize the role that it had been playing. And I just really started to make that extra effort to talk to myself the way I told my clients to talk to themselves and be a little more positive. So 2016 was really an incredible year for me in a lot of ways, but I like to think of 2016 as like my ultimate year that I learned how to love myself properly. I really started to feel good about the person that I was. I became a lot more confident in different areas of my life. I focused a lot on business growth and where I wanted to take my business and what I was doing with my career. And I focused more on the big picture and a lot less on hating the body that I was in, because there were times in the past that I had just hated and repeatedly beat up myself for the way that I looked. And I think it's that 2016 was the first time that I truly did start to recognize that I'm not just my body. Like, I am more than a body. And yeah, it obviously took me a long time to get there and I still struggle with it, but I'm really proud to have gotten to that point that year. So in 2016, I did do another trip to Australia. I went to go visit my sister and a couple of friends that were still living there. And it was cool to be able to, in my head, mentally compare the place that I was then to where I'd been in the past, and how much I'd suffered and struggled with my body image and my body dysmorphia the first time versus the second time, where I was there and I was really confident and happy and able to relax and be in a bathing suit and enjoy Teresa without guilt. So that was really cool. And when I got back from Australia in May of 2016, that's when I started to incorporate a lot more strength training into my routine, and I really started to learn more about it. And I really loved the way that that changed my body. I think that it was kind of the first time that I'd been able to put on a significant amount of lean muscle tissue, and seeing what that did was really cool. I learned that I was able to maintain obviously a higher body weight, but still feel lean and strong. And feeling strong is a really empowering thing. So at the end of 2016, I got even more serious about my strength goals, and I hired Ben again, the same coach I'd had years before, specifically with the goal of upping my back squat and my deadlift. So I really wanted to back squat 200 pounds. And when I hired Ben, we were texting, he said, "Johanna, you're gonna have to be okay with gaining some weight." And I thought about it, and I knew he was right. If you want to get stronger and if you want to put on lean muscle tissue, you do have to be in a caloric surplus, and you do have to be okay with that a little bit of body fat is going to come along with that. So I was like, yep, let's do it. I trained with Ben for 3 months, and I did put on some weight. And you know what? I was okay with it. It was the first time that I ever wasn't beating myself up and mad at myself for gaining weight, because it felt so good to be getting closer and closer to that tangible goal of getting stronger. So I really didn't let it become something that I beat myself up about or got too upset about, because I was so proud at working toward that tangible goal. And I did get the back squat by the end of January, and it felt so good to see myself get stronger like that and to be able to achieve that I was just really proud and happy. So after that, I actually signed my contract for work for boot camps with Elite Performance, which is where I train now. So I shifted my training to Elite, and I did focus on getting into a caloric deficit again. I wanted to get a little bit leaner, and I knew that my body, I'd gone through a couple of big injuries in my heavier lifting program. So I wanted to really just rehab the injuries, keep things a lot lighter, and focus on a lot of explosive movements. So what my goal has been since early spring to now, when it comes to performance, has been I want to get things like really impressive box jumps and explosive push-ups and pull-ups, a lot of good to me, body weight movements that I feel really strong and powerful in. So yeah, that's been a big focus. Jeff Fisher, who's the owner of Elite, has helped me with my training a lot since then. And I put myself on bit of a caloric deficit going up to New York. Like you may have seen if you followed me on Instagram, I did a summer feel good series where I was in a slight caloric deficit and I was really focusing on feeling really lean but also strong going up to New York. I am really happy with the way that I did that. I had a really positive mindset the whole time. I didn't do anything extreme, and I went to New York feeling really incredible. I had a ton of treats. I totally indulged in everything I wanted to, and I felt really good about it. So ever since I've been back, I've just been trying to get back into a healthy routine. Like I have talked about in the past, it can be hard going from total enjoyment mode to back to real life, wanting to progress and work toward your goals again. So it's about not being too hard on yourself. That's what I'm really working on right now. I got my workout routine back in first. I started cutting out treats slowly, and now I'm kind of at a place where my weeks are really healthy and routine, and on the weekends I'm enjoying myself. It's summer, so I'm going out and I'm having fun with my friends, and I'm not being too strict. So that's it. That's where I'm at right now. And if there's one thing that I hope that you guys get out of this video and that I have learned, it's that you're not always gonna be at your leanest. You're not always gonna be at your strongest, and you're not always gonna be linearly improving in a linear way in every aspect. But as long as you're growing and that you love yourself no matter what phase you're at, despite how cheesy that sounds, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like I'm not my leanest right now. I'm not my strongest right now. If you threw a barbell on me with 200 pounds on it, I could not squat that thing. But that's okay because I love myself at the place that I'm at right now, and I'm learning and growing in different areas of training. And I think that's all that matters. So that's why in my past, I haven't heavily focused on before and after photos. That's why I don't post them with my clients, is because we're more than that before and after image in the changes in our body. We're the changes in our mind, what we learn, what we know, how we feel about ourselves. So that's where I'm at right now. One day I will make a video, a my fitness journey video, and where I'm at right now, July 2017, will be a tiny little blip in just the first part of the eventual whole thing. So I will update you guys then. Who knows, maybe it'll be my fitness journey 2025. I'll be so old. Oh my God. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I know this got pretty long, but I appreciate you so much. And I hope you have a great day.